What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Team Member Perspective podcast show. My name is Coulter, and we've got a special guest today, Jordyn Ahlgrim out of Texas. Correct, Jordyn?
Yes, sir. Out of Houston.
Out of Houston. Guys, Jordyn is a team member, and she's not just a team member, she is a top producing team member. She performs at a high level, and she's very consistent. Right? She's not one of those team members that will have a month where she absolutely crushes it and then the next month her production drops. Her production is consistent, but it's consistent at a high level. And Jordyn, we're excited to have you.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. I love coming on these. They're super helpful to me, and I love being able to help other people with where I've had some small success. So I'm thankful for that.
Some small success, guys. You're about to hear this small success that Jordyn's had. Jordyn, why don't you give us like a little background on you, how long you've been a team member, how long you've been in the industry, and kind of a little bit about your production story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a team member for a little bit over 3 years now. I just hit my third anniversary. And it's always kind of like an ongoing joke with me and my agent because financial services were they were always have been very important to him, but I just could not make it happen initially. When I started in 2022, I sold two life insurance policies. They were mine and my husband's. And so in 2023, I did a little bit better, but not much. And then in 2024, we got rolling with the TMP trainings. And that's where my production like skyrocketed. I always make this joke to Coulter that I always have his like voice in my ear whenever I'm talking to customers. I'm like, okay, what would Coulter say in that moment? But in 2024, I wrote 108 life insurance policies and I wrote over $100,000 in premium. And now that we're in 2025, it's only the first week of August, but I'm already almost at that same written production in apt and premium. So I'm hoping to double it this year.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So guys, she started out, she wrote two life policies for her and her husband. You got to start somewhere, right, Jordyn? You got to start somewhere. But then in 2024, she did over 100 life apps. So going from 2 to over 100, something had to have changed. Okay. But you notice that it wasn't just volume and apps. Jordyn put up 100,000 plus in premium last year. And this year, it's August. She's already done that. She's over 110,000 in submitted annual premium for life this year. It's only August. Okay. And so Jordyn, let's kind of talk about like the change that took you from 2 life a year to now, over 100 consistently. Like what changed for you?
Yeah, I think a few things changed for sure because one, I was afraid to ask initially. I didn't know how to bring it up. I didn't want to bother people. I didn't want to seem salesy. I didn't want to seem like I was pressuring anybody. So I just never asked. I never asked. And then something that changed is we talk about this a lot on TNP, but earning the right to pivot and making it make sense for the insured. We talk about those two things a lot. And those things were pivotal to me where I'm not bothering this person. That mindset has changed. And now I'm like, well, I'm offering you a coverage to where you're worried about that $60,000 car that you just bought. If something, God forbid, were to happen to you, we can cover that loan for your spouse, or we can cover the mortgage for your family, or we can, So I think that just having that simple mind reset of we're not bothering this person, we're not selling to them, it's like, no, we are helping them find a problem, we're offering a solution, and we're just selling them on the benefit. That changed the game for me.
I love it. And it just sounds like, Jordyn, correct me if I'm wrong, but like in those initial pivots and in the way that you're initially positioning life for our customers, right? And guys, I think it's important to understand like our customers. Like what is their experience with us? Like what are they thinking about? How are they feeling? What do they know us for, right? Like what's on their mind when we get to talk to them, in the day-to-day transactions? Well, they're thinking about their auto and home insurance. Like that's what they know us for. If you are a PNC agency that's also able to sell financial services like life products or different health products, your customers first know you for auto and home. They actually, most of the time, don't know that you do life insurance or that you do health insurance products. They know you do auto and home, and so that's what they're thinking about. But it sounds like, Jordyn, that in your day-to-day pivoting, when you're bringing up bringing life insurance into the conversation initially with auto and home customers that don't have life insurance, it seems like instead of trying to solve every single need for them, instead of trying to, position a life policy that would pay off every single loan that they have, pay off their mortgage completely, replace income for 20 years, pay for a funeral, leave money behind for kids to go to school. It seems like instead of trying to cover all of those things and position life to do all of that initially, it seems like you're just picking one of those.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, Coulter, because initially, whenever I started pivoting and I was not having success closing, I was trying to sell every single need, cover everything from the first initial conversation. But I was having such a low closing ratio, maybe 10, maybe 15%. And so whenever I started, this is something that you've taught me, and we go over that a lot. But if you just start with that one initial need and start that life insurance funnel, then you can grab them again at the onboarding review. Then you can grab them again at the annual renew if you're not successful with the onboarding review. The good thing about these life policies is that there's always more opportunity later on. At every annual review, there's another opportunity available. You get another at bat with them. So yeah, my closing ratio has increased dramatically just focusing on one initial need and then grabbing them again further down the life funnel.
Amazing. Amazing. And that's like foundational of what we're teaching team members to do, is to take the complexity out of the life conversation, right? Not just for their sake, not for just the team member's sake, but for the customer's sake too, right? We want to offer, something that's easy to say yes to, right? But the mindset, like what Jordyn's saying, is when we offer and we position life to solve one thing, like that's the top of your funnel. You can do that with service calls that you're taking every day. You can do that with list calls that you're doing, with writing it with new business, or even in a review appointment where they don't have any life in place, but you want to start somewhere, right? Step one is to solve one need. Step two is to then meet with them at the issuance to go for more coverage, okay? And step three is the annual life review. So just because we, position something to do one thing doesn't mean that that's like the end all. It doesn't mean that we're never going to talk about that policy again. I mean, I think average producers might do that, but top producers, as you can see, Jordyn is like, okay, I write all of these policies. Yes, they might be smaller, but it's because we're solving one immediate need. We're making it simple. We're helping, start somewhere. But guess what? I'm going to then be able to set myself up for future opportunities to go after more premium by holding these reviews at the issuance. And then in a year, guess what? Annual life review, right? So Jordyn, I love that has been kind of your approach that has helped you not only have a system in place to where you can write apps, build momentum for yourself, but create these other opportunities with these review appointments that kind of are just like built-in additional at-bats to go
Yeah,
for more
and it's so important to keep it simple and cover one initial need on that initial sale, just to get the easy yes from the insured. And then at the issuance, hey, it issued, awesome. Hey, I already called and they gave me the authorization to offer you double the coverage, and that would only change your bill to be 250 for everything. So, and then you'll always have that opportunity to get more premium at the issuance, and then there's so much more premium available at the annual review, and that's where I have a lot of success selling my premium.
I love it. And that's where we want to jump, and we want to spend the rest of this training is that bottom part of the funnel, this annual life review. Because Jordyn, everybody that's watching this has received our 30-second appointment setting script that just sets life reviews very seamlessly, okay? And so these team members and agents listening, they now have a tool that can set them a lot of life reviews, okay? But if I put myself in their spot, I'm thinking, okay, I've set 5 life reviews for myself next week. What do I do in the actual review to sell more life premium? Let's kind of walk through your process a little bit, Jordyn, of kind of what that annual review process and workflow looks like for you, okay? So let's play the scenario. You just wrote Coulter a select 20, let's say $125,000 policy.
Okay,
and
great.
You positioned it to, maybe, in fact, you positioned it to pay off one of my, vehicles.
Sure.
You held an issuance review with me, and you helped me see that, I want coverage to pay off my mortgage too. So you took that policy from 125,000 initially to, after this issuance review, you've got me at $500,000 in coverage for a term. Okay. And so a year goes by, you call and you set this annual life review with Coulter. I'm in your office. What do you do?
I think that that's a really important question because that's how we can like break this down for all of the team members listening. But I think initially, no matter what kind of policy it is, whether it be permanent or term insurance, the first conversation that you need to have is rebuilding that form with the insured. And not only that, but rediscovering, telling them why, like having them resell the policy back to you in a way of why was this important to you to begin with. Like, Coulter, I know that we initially set up $125,000 for you, and then we bumped it up to 500,000. Do you remember why we did that? And then just because Coulter's going to tell me, yeah, you know what? We discussed, there was also that mortgage on the table, so he's going to tell you exactly why. And that's going to, in my mind, like emotionally tie it back to his need and his benefit and why he's seeing the value in it, which is awesome. And something, if it's a term policy, and a lot of people have term on the books, if something that comes up in my head is once you've already established the need for the policy and like we're back in the headspace as to why we need this policy. Something that we need to discuss with the insured is it enough coverage? Like, is this person a good candidate for a term bump, right? In Coulter's instance, maybe he already has sufficient coverage. And if that is the case, then awesome. And if they don't have enough coverage, you can discuss a term bump. And whenever I discuss a term bump, say, let's rewind, Coulter. Let's say we just did 125,000, right? And say now at the annual review, now we're discussing $500,000, right, to pay off. Say this is the scenario that we're in. How I do it is I always position a term bump in a triple play. And that's where all of my premium has come from in annual reviews. And so triple plays can be awesome. You're demonstrating, okay, we can definitely apply for some more coverage for $500,000 to take care of that mortgage. Actually, Coulter, I did this last week for another one of my insureds. And this is something I just want to show you. You can tell me what you think, because we can do this in a different way than we initially did it. I just want to show you what that looks like. And then you can demonstrate to them a return of premium option in addition to the term. And also, I always choose a 20-pay permanent policy. And I love doing that. And I've had a lot of success demonstrating those. And using that play actually sold me my first two big policies about this time last year. And that's where my success really skyrocketed, because it got rid of that limiting belief that nobody would want to do it. So it would be like the first part of the phone call that I would do with them. And then, or you can, if they already have sufficient coverage, you can jump straight into your conversion offer. And that should already be prefaced whenever you're selling them the term policy to begin with, of like, hey, I'm going to give you a call in a year because there's going to be an offer. We're going to need to go over that together. So that's kind of just how the two different frameworks of the conversation, just depending on how the conversation goes with how much coverage they may need.
I love it. I love it. So when Coulter sits down for his annual life review, the first thing that you want to do is you want to ask me why we set up this policy. Mm-hmm. Why did we decide on this coverage amount, right? And instead of telling Coulter why, you ask Coulter why.
Right.
And that's very powerful, Jordyn, because if we think about it in like terms of like what's more compelling for Coulter, what's more convincing for Coulter, is it Jordyn's opinion as the team member that's selling Coulter to, about life insurance and why Coulter got it, and why it's important for Coulter? Is that more compelling for Coulter? Or is it Coulter's idea as the customer? It's Coulter's opinion about why that coverage is important, right? And Jordyn, it's obviously like when it's the customer's idea, that is the most compelling, the most convincing for them, because it's their idea.
And sometimes it's not the customer's idea. Sometimes the customer will tell you, well, I don't know. I don't know why we got that much coverage. And in that instance, that's super easy to go through. Then you can just help spend the death benefit. Okay, $500,000, does that take care of the loans in the two vehicles? Yeah, hopefully yes, right? Does that cover the rest of the mortgage? And then you can, and then you can have that conversation with them if they tell you no. But yes, you always want it to be their idea. you bring it back emotionally, use their spouse's name. If I'm talking to Coulter, I'm going to say, this is going to ensure that Lacey is able to stay in the home. She doesn't have to worry about moving in with her parents or the kids being upset because now they're not at home anymore. And on top of having to deal with losing you, I always say that line. And that's like the Coulter speaking in the back of my brain whenever I'm talking to people. But that's proved to be so powerful because it causes the insured to slow down and realize, oh my gosh, this if this happens, like this is the situation she's going to be put in, right? And so it really draws it back emotionally for that insured, and it really helps sell the value and the benefit of the policy.
I love it. And I think a big thing too with this is it's like what we're ultimately doing in these annual life reviews, what Jordyn's doing in this annual life review really well is she is making the policy, the coverage personal, right? She's spending time helping the customer understand what the coverage will do, but also helping the customer see and be able to answer these questions of like, number one, is this actually enough for what I need and want it to do for me and my family? But also number two, is this policy going to work for me long term, right?
Right.
And helping customers really understand that and understand that, you know what? Both of those questions, in a lot of times in these annual life reviews, the customer comes to a realization that number one, it's not enough coverage. They want more.
Sure.
Or I would say, or number two, this isn't the policy that I want long term. I actually like that return of premium one. I would love to get my money back, right? I'll pay a little bit more to get my money back. Or you know what? I want something that lasts forever. And I love the idea of what this account will do over time. And the fact that it never expires and my rate gets locked in, right? Like there's a lot of people that would probably opt in for a return of premium or even a permanent policy, even though they just have a term right now. And
Oh,
that's the
absolutely.
power of these annual life reviews.
I was going to say your annual life review needs to be focused on two big questions, not necessarily you asking the insured, but you asking yourself this one, is this enough coverage? And how much and how long do we need this policy to last? And that's going to pivot your conversation to either a term bump where you can show them a triple play, or it's going to pivot you to do your conversion offer. But those are two questions that as a team member, you need to ask yourself so that you can create a framework for your conversation to present to your insured, for sure.
I love it. I love it. And guys, I've heard this been taught by Scott Foster, who taught Randy Thompson, who taught me. And it's, if you want to sell Bibles, go talk to the Christians. Go talk to the people that believe and read that book, right?
Right.
Same thing with life insurance. If you want to sell a lot of life insurance, go talk to your believers, the people that have a policy with you. All we're doing here, guys, all Jordyn has done here is she has created a system to get more life customers so that she can hold more of these review appointments so that she can systematize her premium. And it's working, tremendously well.
Yeah.
Team members listening to this, imagine if it was August 5th. This is when we're recording this, August 5th. Okay, so you're not even, we're a little over halfway, but kind of barely, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're already have written $110,000 in submitted annual life premium.
Yeah, I think that was the end of June. So July, we may be closer. Yeah, we may be a little bit over that now, but yeah, that
A
was
little
end of
bit over that. I love it. 115,000 in submitted annual life premium by August 5th. Like, what would that do for you? Agents, like if you had, a team member that could come in and do this, or maybe, team members that could even maybe, double their life premium that they're currently doing, their life apps, like what would that do for the agency? Like what would it do for you, right? Like that's the power of these annual life reviews and this life funnel to write apps, but then make those apps worth more. And guys, Jordyn, we're actually going to be training on this annual life review process that Jordyn runs, teaching, team members how to run this review appointment in the details of like, what questions do I ask? When do I ask them? When do I take control and make a recommendation? What does my transition look like to showing them the term, return of premium, permanent policy, and what parts of that illustration do I show them? Like all of these details and nuances are what Jordyn and I are going to cover in detail in our team member perspective group. Okay. And, we're going to cover that in our weekly meetings, but we're also going to be doing a Life Premium boot camp. Okay. Where Jordyn and I and one of our other top producing team member coaches, Megan, who is in Texas as well, but she's doing over 100,000 in Life Premium every year. We're going to teach this annual life review process in detail in this boot camp. This boot camp is going to be all about helping you as a team member write more Life Premium. If you're thinking, you know what, I've got the apps down and I'm crushing apps, I just need to get the premium, this boot camp will be for you. And agents, if you got a team member that's doing really well, they're writing a lot of apps, we love to hear it. The next step for them is to get into more Life Premium. That is what this boot camp will do, is it will teach them processes and systems that allow them to consistently produce at a high level in Life Premium, but also know how to navigate those conversations to do it. So if you are like, you know what, Coulter, that's me, you got us, right? Or if you're like, you know what, that's one of my team members, click the link in the description. Let's get on a call and we can talk about which option would be, most beneficial for your team, for your team member, whether it's, hey, plug into our weekly meetings because we're going to be covering that coming, soon, or, get into a boot camp. Like with your specific situation, this is what we'd recommend. Book a call and just see if it's something that could be beneficial for you. Because here's the thing is if, Jordyn's agent wouldn't have reached out to us, maybe Jordyn wouldn't be producing 100,000+ in
Jordyn may not be here. We make that joke often that I was on the brink of hiring before we did TFE.
She was on the brink of throwing in the towel. And there's a lot. The thing is, Jordyn, is there's a lot of team members out there that are doing this.
Yeah.
And here's what I'll throw in. Here's like a wrench that a lot of people aren't keeping up with, but I don't really think that people realize what's about to come. And it's this new update with Apple, iOS 26. Okay. And this is the first that we're hearing about this, but now with this new update, anybody that has an iPhone, if there's an unknown number ringing in, right? Like if someone calls you and they are not saved as a contact in your phone, that phone call will go through a call screening where whoever's calling is going to have to state their name and reason for their call. And what happens is that the system will take it and it will be able to be right on the customer's phone or the person you're calling's phone, and it will say who's calling and why they're calling. Okay. And from there, the customer is going to decide if they're going to pick up or not. Okay. And so there's some changes that are happening with the advancements of technology. And here's the thing, if we're not educated, if our team members don't understand that, we will get frustrated. And what happens is when team members are frustrated and they're not selling like you told them they would be able to sell in this opportunity, they're going to leave you. They're going to go somewhere else, right? But on the flip side, if we can help them learn how to navigate these nuances, learn how to write apps, learn how to write premium consistently, they're going to make a lot of money. They're going to be happy with their role. They're going to have a mindset.
Absolutely.
I can absolutely do
well, and it's like if they'll be able to produce month to month, like consistently, and it's going to help your agents. It's going to help your agency. It's going to really encourage your team members because it's going to affect their paycheck. They're going to see it. They're going to be encouraged. Their burnout rate is going to be a lot lower. They're going to be happier in the office. That's going to be contagious. They're going to encourage the team members around them to produce at a high level. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a catalyst effect. And so I 100% agree with that.
Well, Jordyn, do you think that if these guys are interested, even to the slightest, like agents, if you like money, if you want to maximize revenue in the agency,
if you want to travel,
you know just as well as us that life and health production is absolutely crucial for that to happen. And agents, like, you don't need to do the production anymore. There's too many agents that are doing that. You do if your team's not trained, but if your team's trained and they know how to execute this stuff, you don't have to do it anymore, right? The team's doing it, and it's a win-win because guess what? They're going to start making more money. They're going to be happier with their role. They're going to stick around with you longer, and your agency gets to maximize revenue, more money for everybody, okay? Right. So that is our goal, right? Jordyn, do you think like if they're interested at all, should they just click the link below and
Absolutely, absolutely. I literally
explore
would
this?
not be here without that specific training. So, and that is something that has that has been the catalyst for my own personal career. And I think my agent would absolutely hands down agree. You have to click the link below. Absolutely.
Amazing. Guys, click the link below. Get closer to Jordyn and I and Megan and learn how to sell life premium as a team member consistently at a high level. We look forward to talking with you soon.